So for my final project, I chose combating climate change in urban areas. I chose this topic because I was very interested in how urban areas can combat climate change because recently I moved to Tempe for my first semester here at ASU. I'm a transfer student and I used to live in a more suburban area where, you have to drive everywhere or yeah, drive everywhere to eat somewhere or to go out with friends or, there's that occasional park you have to walk to. But, to go out and do stuff, it was, you had to certainly drive. But here in Tempe, I can tell that it's a very different atmosphere. Everything's so close. You can walk 5 minutes, you'll be eating somewhere. So yeah, it's really different. And, throughout the lectures in this class, when we started discussing climate change, because, we've been hearing this since we are little, about climate change. And when a professor said that, you know, uh, urban areas are like one of the biggest contributors to climate change, that's when I was kind of interested in, how can um, how can we, effectively kind of reduce climate change while living in this close area with a bunch of people and a lot of things going on. So, that's the problem. Climate change, as the population of individuals and cities grows, the consequences of our activities will become more severe, hence the need to find ways to create a more sustainable living environment. Here are some of the quotes I had. Over half of the world's population lives in cities, and the number is estimated to increase to 68% by 2050. Cities are particularly vulnerable to the effects of climate change while also being the world's most significant emitters of anthropogenic greenhouse gases. Sorry, I kind of butchered that word. Um, but yeah, these quotes kind of show you how urgent and kind of necessary um viewpoint where we need to create a environment where we are more sustainably living because more people are going into the cities. That means more activity. That means more contributions to climate change. And yeah, it goes to show you that we need to find ways to live more sustainably while being so close and having all these human activities that we have. So some components or systems. First, I have social. Um, Due to climate change, mental health increased due to the uncertainty of our future conditions. So, anxious, distressed, kind of wondering what's really going on with our world. The increase of extreme weather. So, for example, here, rising temperatures and disruption of basic necessities. So, how we get water, how we get food, that can cause some stress because, that's almost the basic necessities. Like, we don't really worry about that, but once we do, it has to be very stressful. Rise of health risks due to change in weather and disease patterns, economic tension due to a greater dependency on our energy systems. Technological components or systems due to climate change in urban areas are strained or disrupt energy systems that urban areas heavily rely on. This can be from natural disasters, rising temperatures, hurricanes, tornadoes, stuff like that. The increased rate of improving energy transportation systems to become more sustainable, resilient, and efficient. Higher interest in renewable power systems. As climate change grows, I feel like we are more pushed into finding more ways to combat it, and that's also from a technological view. So solar panels, wind turbines, how can you make this more efficient so it can maybe potentially replace the energy systems that, you know, create those greenhouse emissions? Ecological components, disturbance of crops due to the changing weather patterns, which contributes to the increased price of goods, the damage to vegetation and wildlife, the increase of air pollution, which can lead to more health issues and other issues like ground level ozone. We know, as we learned, climate change can affect a lot in the environment. That can be our crops, the way farmers plant things, the way we go around our daily life. how we experience going outside and breathing the air. Um, at the bottom, I have two loops, one depicting rising temperatures due to climate change, and that makes us use our cooling systems, which generate more heat. So that helps climate change even more because there's more heat in the air. So that's kind of positive feedback loop, but it's not positive because it's a good thing. It's positive because it's helping that process of climate change. While the rise in vegetation and greenhouse spaces cool the temperatures around our environment. So that means it's a negative feedback loop because it kind of changes that process of or the process change of climate change. You know what I mean? So some ecosystem characteristics, services, and cycles. Characteristics for urban areas, high human population, few green areas or vegetation, consumed with buildings and infrastructure, high concentration of air pollutants compared to more rural areas. Services that can help urban areas, temperature control from tree shading, um, capture of carbon dioxide and release of oxygen, if we plant more vegetation and have more green spaces, and positive impact on health and well-being, since spaces is one a very popular thing for this discussion because it provides a lot of benefits and co-benefits when implementing it, and all those services can come from green spaces in urban areas. Some cycles to watch out for is the water cycle. So water quality due to runoff and construction in urban areas, increased carbon in the air because of cars, and nitrogen, the nitrogen cycle because nitrogen fixation and the decomposition processes of those plants. You know, how is that affected if there's a lot of nitrogen concentration in the soil due to our activities? Some sustainability strategies that I learned in my literature review was that the three most popular ones that I found out was green infrastructure. So, for instance, you know, adding more parks or green roofs. The article that I'm quoting is Benefits and Co-Benefits of Urban Green Infrastructure for Sustainable Cities. We discuss how green infrastructure provides urban ecosystem services, so kind of how we discussed in the last slide. Sustainable transportation, this can be like a wide range of things. It can be, from my article that I read, intelligent transportation systems for sustainable smart cities highlights using smart traffic lights to decrease greenhouse gas emissions from heavily trafficked cities. From our book, we learned that cars that are idle emit more gases and waste more money. So in this article, it discussed how incorporating intelligent lights in Los Angeles resulted in a reduction of travel time by 16% and a reduction of pauses at intersections at 12%, resulting in less traffic congestion and fewer vehicles idle. So that kind of helps, you know what I mean? So, and then lastly, renewable energy systems. This can be renewable energy design for low carbon and climate resilient cities, like how we're discussing. It can be a mix of non-renewable and renewable energy because during our time right now, non-renewable energy is not enough, or power system is enough to replace non-renewable energy systems. We depend on fossil fuels a little too much. But if we push or make more, you know, technological discoveries, maybe that could help. And yeah, here are my sources. Thank you for listening. I know that was kind of probably fast at the end, but I can see I'm going a little long than I anticipated, but thank you. Yeah.